Part 3. An integrated systemic maturity model. From regulated individuals to regulated civilizations. Opening: the necessary evolution. In Part 1, we examined the diagnosis. In Part 2, we strengthened the human terrain. Now we ask the deeper question. If individuals regulate, how does that transform systems? Because peace cannot remain personal. It must become structural. Technology has matured. Economies have matured. Governance has matured. But have our emotional systems matured at the same rate? Civilization now requires systemic emotional maturity. Section 1. What is systemic maturity? Systemic maturity means institutions designed with awareness of human physiology and psychology, not just efficiency, not just productivity, but regulation. A mature system reduces chronic threat, encourages reflection, supports recovery, rewards cooperation, protects long-term thinking. Immature systems amplify urgency, fear, competition without recovery, identity polarization. Systemic maturity is not ideology. It is biological literacy applied to structure. Section 2. The 5-layer maturity model. Here is the integrated framework. Layer 1. Individual regulation. Foundation from Part 2. Breath regulation, sleep protection, nutrition stability, movement, emotional processing, nature exposure, HRV awareness. Without this layer, higher layers remain unstable. Layer 2. Family and microenvironment regulation. Families are the first nervous system ecosystems. A regulated parent co-regulates children, reduces intergenerational stress transfer, models pause before reaction, practical integration, family breath rituals, 2 to 3 minutes, screen-free evenings, shared outdoor time, conflict resolution pause rule. Peace begins at dinner tables. Layer 3. Educational maturity. Education is long-term civilization design. Imagine schools that include daily 5-minute regulation practice, emotional labeling education, media literacy training, outdoor exposure blocks, movement integration. Children trained this way become less reactive adults, better negotiators, more reflective leaders. Peace architecture must begin before adolescence. Layer 4. Institutional and workplace regulation. Workplaces and institutions often reward chronic urgency. Systemic maturity requires deep work blocks without constant interruption, mandatory recovery breaks, walking meetings, HRV-informed stress awareness programs, leadership regulation retreats. Burned-out employees cannot build stable systems. Regulated workplaces increase creativity and reduce conflict. Chastidgyangu Layer 5. Governance and policy maturity. This is delicate territory. We are not speaking politically. We are speaking physiologically. Chronic power stress narrows perception. Therefore, mature governance structures could include periodic silent retreats for decision-makers, structured listening forums, data-informed emotional climate assessments, long-term thinking frameworks beyond election cycles. Even a 5% reduction in reactive escalation could prevent conflict. Governance must evolve emotionally as it has technologically. Section 3. Emotional contagion and collective regulation. Humans co-regulate. One calm nervous system stabilizes others. One reactive nervous system destabilizes others. This applies to parents, teachers, journalists, CEOs, political leaders. Tone spreads faster than content. Regulation spreads. Dysregulation spreads. Society mirrors the average autonomic state of its leaders. Section 4. Media and Digital Civilization Maturity. Modern algorithms amplify outrage. Why? Because outrage spreads rapidly. But chronic outrage reduces collective HRV. Digital maturity requires emotional literacy campaigns, reduced fear-based framing, highlighting cooperation stories, digital hygiene education. Technology must mature alongside humanity. We do not reject digital civilization. We regulate our relationship with it. Section 5. Economic and structural stress. Chronic economic insecurity activates survival circuits. When large populations live in survival mode, long-term thinking declines, cooperation decreases, polarization increases, economic policy becomes nervous system policy. Reducing chronic threat stabilizes societies. This is not ideology, it is biology. Section 6. The role of regulation infrastructure. Part 2 introduced nervous system strengthening centers. Systemic maturity requires regulation literacy in healthcare, HRV monitoring integration, school-based breath training, community coherence gatherings, leadership reset programs, accessible regulation centers. Infrastructure determines scale. Without infrastructure, regulation remains individual effort. Section 7. Intergenerational transmission. Unresolved stress passes silently through behavior modeling, emotional tone, parenting style, epigenetic influences. Systemic maturity interrupts that cycle. When parents regulate, children inherit stability instead of anxiety. Peace becomes inherited. Section 8. The long arc of civilization. Humanity has mastered fire, agriculture, industry, electricity, digital networks. Now comes the next evolution, emotional and physiological literacy. The future may not belong to the most advanced technology. It may belong to the most regulated nervous systems, because regulated systems make sustainable decisions. Section 9. Practical Implementation Roadmap. Step 1. Awareness, public lectures, media content, education. Step 2. Pilot programs, schools, healthcare centers, leadership workshops. Step 3. Measurement HRV data, behavioral outcomes, stress reduction metrics. Step 4. Scaling community adoption, policy integration. Step 5. Cultural normalization. Regulation becomes ordinary, not special, not spiritual, normal. Closing reflection. The maturity question. Civilization has advanced in power. Now it must advance in restraint. It has advanced in speed. Now it must advance in pause. It has advanced in information. Now it must advance in integration. Peace is not imposed. It emerges when individuals regulate, families stabilize, schools educate emotionally, institutions reduce chronic threat, leaders model reflection. This is not utopia. It is maturation, and maturation takes time. Let me leave you with one final reflection. If every layer of society improved regulation by even 5%, what would the world look like in 30 years? The future is not predetermined. It is shaped by the emotional maturity we cultivate today. Thank you for walking this path. Closing transition to Part 4. Today we explored systemic maturity. How regulated individuals can influence families, institutions, education, governance, and culture. We examined how physiology scales into structure. But there is one more dimension. Systems can be redesigned, institutions can mature, policies can evolve. Yet beneath all structure lies something deeper, human consciousness itself. In Part 4, we will explore the role of inner awareness in shaping collective destiny, whether consciousness influences culture, how moral and spiritual maturity integrate with physiological regulation, and whether peace ultimately requires not only stable systems, but awakened individuals, because strengthening the nervous system is foundational. Designing mature systems is essential. But perhaps the final layer of civilization is inner awareness. If this journey resonates with you, I invite you to continue with Part 4. Civilization evolves in layers, and we are walking them step by step. Founder. Holistic Wellness Foundation. IMFAL. Healing Beyond Boundaries.